Greetings, geeks. Welcome to episode 497 of Geeks in Space. I'm Rob Commander Taco Malda, and I am joined today on this lovely Friday by two of the finest geeks you're ever going to meet. I got a Chris DeBona.
Hi.
And a Rob Roseboom.
Hello.
We skipped a couple for travel for one of us, but also for on Tuesday, while shoving my stereo back into place, I sheared the coax in my on my wall and lost internet to my whole home.
We were just sitting there on Tuesday night going, well, is he going to show up? What's going on? And he's like, internet. And I was like, okay, yeah, all right. Guess it ain't going to happen.
I was mad. I was really mad. And then I spent, it took me about an hour to figure out that I had sheared the cable because I shoved the furniture back into place, cut the cable, and then went and did something else for like 15 or 20 minutes, then came back and couldn't figure out why the internet wasn't working. So I I went through every single component, like checking the wires, rebooting things, like cats pinging our neighbor to see if they lost internet, and then figured out that the wire was broken. So I spent the next hour rummaging through cable boxes in my basement to try to find a replacement, because I don't have the ability to put an end on coax in my home anymore.
You don't have a crimper? What kind of person are you?
I have a Cat 5 crimper, but nothing for coax. Yeah, there you go. You got the photo. But then I went across my basement and like disconnected all the loose wires that I could find, because my house, I only use one wire, but it's an old house that had coax run to every room.
Let's decode this image.
All right.
So are we looking at the bottom here? So here at the bottom, are we looking at where it goes down through the floor into your basement?
Yes.
I see. And then you have these, so that's like a cut.
Yeah.
Into at least the plenum and
it was
other parts.
It was sheared straight through. Once I poked at it, once I tugged at it a little, it just popped right off.
That's weird. You know, what you did shouldn't have done that. It was already something was. Was your internet unreliable?
No,
Rob?
but I bet you it's a 40-year-old cable.
It doesn't matter.
When you have the sheer physical power that Rob Malda has.
No, that was my wife.
When fighting with stereos? Oh. Yeah.
No, it was the sheer power of my wife. So yeah, now my cable is currently plugged in with several random strands of coax that I could find and connected into splitters because I didn't have any couplers. So it's just a series of splitters across my basement. And eventually I'll go find, go to Lowe's and get myself like a 50-foot coax and clean it all up. But I don't care. It works.
Yeah.
So that was why the episode was canceled. And I apologize to you guys because I wanted to talk about Final Countdown.
Me too. I'm sorry that I had to travel, but children need to get driven to stream college from their apartments in Los Angeles. I'm still confused as to what I was doing, but okay.
When you were in LA, did you spend the night at a Blockbuster that you can rent as an AirBNB for $4 a night?
That's a great story. I think that's incredibly wholesome. I think this is wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, you have to
really neat.
You have to live in that town.
What town is it?
I can't remember.
Is this the Alaska one or something?
Not LA. No,
Bend, Oregon.
Yeah.
Oof. Man, that is really something though.
I like how they staged the little room though.
Yeah.
That's great, I think.
And it's an old school big screen TV.
Yeah.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, look at that
and
thing.
The VHS tapes.
Yeah, it's like it's a stereo system from the 90s.
Is this like a beanbag chair here? Or yeah, okay. Yeah, they really did a lovely job. So my question is this like the did Blockbuster have an adult area? Is this the adult area over here? And this is like your normal VHS tapes. And what is through here? No. Is this the
Blockbuster never had an adult area.
Yeah, okay.
I think those are just like panels of design, like the green thing that they've got on the right.
No, it's probably like the back room where they have like a coffee maker and some crappy chairs for the for the kids who work there to hang out, and like a whole bunch of rewinders,
and hopefully a bathroom. Otherwise, the night here would be.
Oh,
rather
that's what the
uncomfortable.
couch is for. Yeah. So
Yeah.
this is a super absorbent beanbag chair. Sorry, it's really gross.
No, you just go to if you gotta you gotta do your business. You just go find like really offensive '80s comedies that have aged poorly and just do it in there,
Mm-hmm.
right in the box.
Wait a second. I have to show you something since we're talking about it. So, back in the day, my wife's uncle Alan. Here, there's a picture. Is that one? No, that's not one. I'll find it.
All right,
Okay,
you do you,
and I'll
man.
tell you the story later. It's a great story.
All right, man.
The story of Video Marquee.
So you guys posted this just before we started. It looks like I didn't read this one yet. The Pentagon is going to start another task force to tell us what's going on with the UFOs.
Ugh,
It's true.
Such a dumb country, you know.
Well, the Navy released what they called the Tic Tac videos, where these fighter jets were chasing a small drone-like object that accelerated at phenomenal speeds, and they weren't able to figure out what it was. So they have reopened. Well, evidently it turned out Project Blue Book was closed, and then they reopened it under another name. That program was supposedly closed, but turns out it really wasn't. Basically, these people have just gotten less and less money. But now Harry Reid has picked up the task of decoding what these UFOs really are, and now they have funneled more money into the Pentagon, and we're gonna start doing that stuff again, I guess.
Great.
And maybe the Klingons will help us out of this mess.
I've always
Sure.
like that was the joke, actually, I suppose, that I remember from early in the Trump presidency. The joke was, at least now we're gonna know for sure if aliens are
Right.
real, because if aliens are real, there ain't no way that guy ain't tweeting about it in 6 weeks.
Well, right. That's going to be his, October surprise or whatever.
Right.
It's going to be a bunch of.
But that also assumes that anyone high up in the military who would have that information would actually share it with that person.
That's true.
Which I find highly dubious.
For reasons that seem completely clear to me, it seems like there's some distrust between the military and the executive branch.
Right.
So dumb. It's like, I got to tell you, well, there's no point to this. It's such a waste of time. If the visitors want themselves to be known, they'll let themselves be known. They'll start posting their own TikTok videos or something.
That's true.
They don't need the. I mean,
Well,
if they have the power to travel, hundreds of light years or whatever from the closest actual possible civilization, according to the Drake equation or whatever, like they probably arrive here and they're like, what a bunch of yokels.
I mean, do you
They
think
don't
a
want to violate the
society's
directive and talk to us assholes?
do you think a society's mastery of physics parallels its mastery of social media?
Well, I mean, I would think they would have to be able to get past the crazy years of social media to become a spacefaring civilization, right?
I mean, maybe.
That was the best thing, honestly, about The Expanse. I think it was season 2 or at the end of season 1, when the guy is basically YouTubing his, I'm going to go through the ring gate, and
Yeah.
it was honestly the most entertaining first 3-minute opener of a TV show I have ever seen. Because he's like, and this goes out to my girlfriend who dumped me, and then he hits spoiler warning. He hit the event horizon and is just disassembled. It's just, it's so, because it's shocking. It's like the amount of blood is just copious. And then knowing that this is going out to the YouTube of the time, it's so funny. It's like the ultimate hold my beer video, and I'm like, I guess you can make it to spacefaring without having dealt with these problems. So, yeah. God, is it a good scene?
So speaking of talking about aliens and such, did you see the Arecibo Observatory and what happened to that?
Oh, heartbreaking!
Right?
Absolutely heartbreaking.
Let's see if I can get my share up. I've
oh yeah, you shared the Scott Manley video.
yeah. I put the Scott Manley because fly safe. But
Fly
this is the
safe.
picture actually that that has me because
it's heartbreaking.
is it just me or so I never really thought about the structure underneath that telescope. I never really like he actually says in the video that and you can see from here there's vegetation underneath it and it's growing.
Didn't you see Goldeneye? I mean, that was pretty clear.
I guess I didn't remember.
Or contact. I mean, so it's a mesh, as Mr. Dr. Reverend Manley says in his video. But yeah, it's a mesh and it's meant to, reflect radio waves. But yeah, so there's like all this vegetation and the rest. It's a natural crater that they reformed and
of course you wouldn't bother like removing the stumps. I guess that's the thing that I really liked. There's just a bunch of stumps down there. That's cool.
Yeah, I think it's really. They probably have a guy. It looks like they have a guy who mows it, and keeps it sort of mellow.
Well, they'd have to have someone down there because even if you cut those stumps like that, a lot of those trees would try to regrow. Right.
So you have to realize this area is just like rainstorms, and I mean, this is a great place to be a plant. I mean, if I were a plant, I'd want to be here. Yeah, no, but this
Chris, I think you are a plant.
I'm technically an alien visiting you, and I'm just not telling anybody. Especially not Donald Trump.
I assume CIA.
Well, why aren't you on TikTok more?
TikTok? No, I'm not. This is not Dancer's alien body. This is a. I'm really more of a from the shoulders up YouTuber. Alien.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
See, I think for the Robs, we're more podcast pretty.
I think that you're both appropriately attractive for YouTube.
We definitely have a face for radio.
That's right.
Yeah, honestly, neither of you are Instagram worthy. I mean, I hate to say it, or TikTok. I mean, TikTok. Honestly, I'm so not TikTok worthy. I mean, one, I'm 48, and so I'm like 3 times the age of the average TikToker.
Right.
It's like and Instagram. I don't have the butt for it.
Oh.
So.
Baby does not have back.
On Instagram. Follow me on Instagram to see early content, viewers. But I post like the odd like photo of something I'm cooking on Instagram. So because that's about my flavor of Instagram.
Yeah. Right. I used Instagram for long enough to say no, this is not the way for me to spend my time.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, Manley covered it absolutely great. I'm so glad you linked his thing. He is. The index, he's like, here's the evolution of the Arecibo. That's not his accent.
What?
But,
did you go French?
No, it's more like a Spanish/French/Portuguese, I think.
So it's all the languages and you just blended them together.
Yeah, I'm not good at talking. I'm a simple alien from, regular 4.
It's all Western Europe, so...
Yeah, I mean, sure. Or their colonies,
Right.
Sure. Right. So,
like France.
Like France.
All right. So I got some weird news, though. We've proven the afterlife exists because Herman Cain,
could not
after
believe
dying
this.
from COVID, managed to tweet out his problems with Kamala Harris.
Yeah, man.
Wow, that's weird.
Yeah.
Boy, isn't that strange?
So why isn't the Pentagon forming a task force to like they've got a UFO task force, now they need to have the ghost task force.
I mean, there's certainly enough ghost based programming on television.
Right.
It's not like the people don't want it, right?
It's so weird.
That's the truth.
It's super, super weird. This is a timely reminder. The Cain gang consists of several writers who have their own opinions. We all lean right, but we're all individuals. This piece reflects the opinions of that writer. That's how Herman wanted it to work. We agree on this. We love you all. What a creepy group.
Yeah.
Fucking, they're necromancers. They're necrophiliacs.
Whoa.
That's who these people are. They're a death cult, and they're going all the way, man.
I would just like to say that the opinions of Chris DeBona are the opinions of Chris DeBona and do not represent Geeks in Space Enterprises.
I'm sorry. I'm going to speak for Geeks and Space Enterprises. Geeks and Space Enterprises feels the Cain gang is a bunch of necrophiliacs.
Oh, ouch.
You know, I mean, honestly,
It's pretty
let the
gross.
poor man rest.
Like,
You
so,
know?
okay, when, after Stan Lee died, wasn't Captain Marvel the first movie that came out after Stan Lee? And I think I remember
Yeah.
he had like
I
a
think
tweet.
so.
And even that,
That's too much.
Which even that felt wrong, even though obviously Stan Lee wasn't sitting there tweeting from his own iPhone. He couldn't even see anymore. But I still felt like, come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, I respect Stan Lee and the characters he created and all that. But let's be honest, the end year Stan Lee was a little old man that they would put in those movies for nostalgia, right?
Yeah.
So
Here's Zombie Stanley. That said, I like the idea of if I know that I'm going to die because I don't know, cancer or whatever, I'd love to like on TweetDeck or one of these things schedule posts.
Oh, for sure.
For, posthumous posts. So one thing people do at Google when they leave is some people will change their photos and user nicknames, and then when you see them in the this person has exited emails or they've exited Google. One guy changed his face to a zombie face, and this zombie blah blah blah, and you would, and so every time you'd see a post that had him in the past in it, you'd see his icon. It was just so good, I was like, oh man, I love that guy. He knows who he is.
He knows.
But yeah, this is the Stan Lee posthumous post about Captain Marvel, and it's like Disney, no.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's interesting though if you think about it. This is a new etiquette, because you wouldn't have done this. Like, okay, you can imagine a posthumous memoir, being posted, 20,
Right.
30 years ago, but these were specifically about events that occurred after his death. At that point, you might as well. It has as much validity as people who tell you that Jesus would be very offended by X, and like you might be right, but bad news for you. The guy's been dead for a couple millennia, and I mean, he like a lot of this stuff. Like we didn't have cars and stuff back then. He didn't care about speed limits or seat belts or whatever. That wasn't his deal.
So I think we should call this Emily posthumous when we cover it in the future, like when we talk about post-death, issues like this that are for the modern age, and so that's why I think we should call this like Emily posthumous, because it's kind of funny because it's posthumous, but it's also Emily post, which is about etiquette and social usage.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
All right. So turns out
Back to the zone.
Boeing 747s they need to get updated occasionally with a floppy disk.
I saw this. Is this like for reals?
This is for reals. And there is an engineer whose job it is apparently once a month to go around to these 747s and install, I think it's mapping software, map updates.
Whoa,
Yep.
dude.
I mean, I guess I don't find that really that surprising, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know about you, Chris, but certainly Rob and I have some, like we've worked at factories before, old factories, and seen what the technology is that they're using there, right? I mean, most places don't get stuff updated very often until it's absolutely necessary. So
yeah, people are loath to touch these systems once they're working.
Yeah, they're expensive.
Well, what's funny about this is, I know when Rob bought his 747, and he was like, "What?
I put a hammock in the back.
3.5-inch floppies," and he had to contact his friends over at Memorex or Elephant Data, whoever you were buying your floppy disk from.
No, this would be an opportunity to say we would be sponsored by NordVPN, and they would let us do updates over their VPN.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
This is
actually,
where I would put a sponsor if I had one.
Why would you want one?
I don't.
Come on. It's here's the thing. Until we have like 10,000 subscribers, we're not getting a single sponsor.
I don't want a sponsor.
So we should make them up. So
I agree.
let me figure out.
So Jake and Elon, if you're watching, today's secret hug phrase is going to be the Cain train. And remember to
Cain
smash
train,
that
I
like
feel it.
button and ring the notification bell and use our subscriber code when you go for Blue Apron.
Yeah.
I wonder if we just made up a subscriber code, what would happen?
Probably
Hard to say.
it would never ever be used.
Well, also that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, okay. There's one more thing. There's one more.
Okay. Well, anyways, I just want to say that this episode of 747 Maintenance is brought to you by Dyson, Dysan, floppy disk makers. They are the floppy disk makers to the Geeks in Space community.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So when you buy from them, use the buyer code GIS.
Yeah, use the buyer code GIS when you visit the incredibly popular and for reals honest Dyson.com site, which is for sale. So yeah, just put in GIS in the code and spend your $25,000 and buy that domain. So 5-letter domains, man. 5-letter domains.
Magical.
That's right. Okay, we got 2 things left on the list. We got they're both kind of fun. We can talk about Fortnite, and we can talk about
The Wizard.
what I assume is Rob's inevitable career destiny, which is official city wizard.
For sure.
No,
For
come on.
sure.
He's already got an apprentice who's obviously a pathetic hanger-on. You know,
This story is amazing.
it
is
keeps on giving.
It like you look at it and you think, oh, it's just some weird dude who gets hired to be a wizard, but you have to read the story. It is amazing. And that's all I'm going to say about it. I don't really want to ruin it, other than I also love that he is such a fixture that he has a TripAdvisor rating. That person does. I think that is fantastic.
I think it's completely appropriate that it's not 5 stars. It's like 4 out of 5 stars.
Sure. Yep. 4 out of 5 stars.
There was also a thing here where he's kind of a men's rights person. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, I can't believe my wife left me. And I'm like, can't you though?
Well, I thought the article said that he's been supported by his wife, which is not a surprise.
He wasn't he was anti-men's rights, right?
No, I thought it was.
He praised the British Empire and
never mind. You're right.
Called anti-male sexism.
Yeah.
And then where's his wife? His then wife. When he became a wizard, he said he lost all his friends and his wife left him. He says he turned her, throwing him out of the house, into a ritual by inviting friends to come too. For me, it was fun, but not to her. She's still furious.
You know, it's not all trips to Mountain Doom and fireballs when you're a wizard. You know,
it's not all eagle rides and gold collecting. You know.
Yeah.
So.
No. Plus, once you get up into like your mid 50s, it's really hard to get enough XP to go up another level.
Yeah, that's true.
Tell that to Gandalf the White. Come on, man.
He's like been around for thousands of years. The Maiar are immortal.
Yeah, that's true.
And while it's cool that they pay him, I mean, the gig pays $10,000 a year.
Yeah.
Well,
what's that really?
In Christchurch, though, is that good?
They said that was less than like they had a number a comparison number. It was like half of what poor people are getting. It looked like. So,
the median income for Christchurch is $42,800. So if he's getting $10,000, that's not a great living.
I think they had like $20,000 was the poverty line or something. They had a number in the article.
But I mean, I guess if you can just summon your own housing.
Yeah.
You know, create food whenever you want. I mean, what do you really have money to spend on?
That's true.
What do you need money for?
I have to admit, my response for that is he's obviously not summoning a shower.
Ooh.
You know.
Well, you know.
And he's got an apprentice to feed. I mean, those guys, they eat a lot of food, you know. So.
I like the picture of him and his apprentice. It kind of reminded me of what they do in the Shadows. Like where he has his familiar.
Yeah, exactly. You know, although I will say, and What We Do in the Shadows, the TV show, the familiar is the best character. He holds it all together.
For sure. Yeah.
You know, I love that guy. You know,
it's great.
Van Helsing. He's Van Helsing.
He's a Van Helsing. Of course
And
he
he's so
is.
good at killing the undead. You know?
They had I watched the interview with the cast that they did for the Comic-Con. They did a Zoom panel, and they didn't tell him that he was the Van Helsing. That was unknown to the cast until the final episode. So that's that would have been pretty cool.
We
There
should
was
post that in the doobly-doo. You know?
Oh, I have an Umbrella Academy thing that I want to mention that I can't because I
No.
just realized that neither of you have seen the end of season 2. But there's a cool thing that I know that you don't know.
Well, okay. Sorry.
Okay, so the last thing that we have on the list, I didn't put up a link for it because there's about 700 of them, but it's everything to do with the battle royale between Fortnite and the entire industry.
Yeah.
It's not the entire industry.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is, man.
They sideload on Android. They're happy as clams.
They got kicked off of the Google Play. They got kicked off of the Apple Store. They're
yeah, but Android they can still load, so it doesn't matter, you know. So
there was another
did you
one
not
too.
put the story up?
I didn't. But there was like 8 of them, and I didn't pick one.
I'll
I'll find one. But the other one the thing that I liked is that you could tell it was premeditated and like orchestrated and pretty slick on the part of Epic because they had this video ready to go in the can because they knew full well they're going to war with Apple.
Well, yeah, and they filed the lawsuit right away.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I mean,
so here's the thing, you know. Apple has 2 big problems, and it's WeChat and it's Fortnite. It's like, you know, WeChat, they lose Asia and Europe. Well, sorry, they lose Asia, right? And Fortnite, they lose everyone under 18. It's like, I hate to say it, Apple doesn't know what it's up against.
Yeah.
You know, a multi-trillion-dollar corporation. They're like, it's okay. We don't have to worry about these people. And it's like, oh, okay, that's a choice you can make. It's an odd one. I don't know that I would have made it myself, but
it's up to you, man. I mean, I guess my fundamental problem with it is that their rates are Looney Tunes in terms of what they charge.
30% is just too much, man.
And
it's
but
too much.
The thing that makes me angry, and I think we've talked about this a few times in the past, is that the convoluted user interface shenanigans that app makers put in their apps in order to circumvent this.
I mean,
20%.
they're following the guidance that Apple gives them. That's the thing.
But it is a freaking garbage UX experience, and I got to tell you, Kat and I have discussed this many times, but if you are casually browsing, let's say a T-shirt store, you know, an impulse purchase that's $15, $12, you know, you wouldn't think too hard about it, and it has that Apple Pay button on it, and it's on a random site, and so you know if you press that button, you're not going to have to create a user account, you're not going to have to type it, find your credit card in your wallet because you can't remember the 3-digit code from the back of your card because you got a new card 2 months ago. Like, that is powerful. And then you look at
602, the one on the back of my
yeah. Then you look at Comicology. Like, I basically stopped using it because the user interface for it was so annoying, where you had to like put the thing in your cart and then go to a different app and when you remember maybe and buy it later. That delayed gratification, all to circumvent. Like, I mean, I get it, they're corporations battling with each other, but they're battling like the credit card industry takes 2, maybe 3%, right? And that's steep. So how the hell can you get away with 20 or 30%, man?
Yeah, it's, you know, yeah. Well, they'll get away with it as long as they can.
Yeah.
That's just who they are, you know. But yeah, it's a lot, you know. And here's the thing, it's like, so, you know, everyone looked at like, you know, the bookstore model where, you know, they'd pay basically half the cover price for a book or a magazine or something, and then, you know, they would sell it for whatever they could get, right? And so they're like, this is cheaper than printing and shipping to, you know, a wholesaler who then ships to a retail outlet. Come on. And it's like, Yeah, but why do you think that you should get that? Yeah, anyway, I don't know.
I mean, it's philosophically interesting because you can say an awful lot of horrible things about Amazon, but generally speaking,
Happy to.
Amazon is doing actions of questionable morality, but often, typically, even usually, in service of driving the price down. For like consumer, if you are gonna sell your product on the Amazon marketplace, they might screw you, but that's because they're gonna release a competing product that's gonna cost 5% less.
Right.
And they'll
They
also
will.
ship counterfeits in your name. I mean,
Yeah,
they
they will.
do so many cheesy things, man.
They track your product, and once it hits a magic number, they start making that product
Right.
and undercutting you. So yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's really a Faustian bargain.
Right.
If that's
No,
the
but
right-
they do crappy things, but they do it generally in service of driving the price down, which I guess you can argue is good for the consumer, even if it's bad for the seller.
you know.
And Apple absolutely has the opposite mentality, right? They're like, we will charge you $900 for 64 gigs of RAM. If you're gonna pay it, and we will solder our RAM into our motherboard if it makes it more, so we can make more money.
Yeah, no. So what I'm reaching over for is so Manfrotto, the camera
Tripods
equipment
and
company.
such.
They make the Magic Arm, and it's sort of taken the world by storm. And this is what they look like. This is not a Manfrotto Magic Arm.
No, that's the knockoff.
This is the Amazon Basics, I think, knockoff. It was $34. It's got the clamp, it's got the friction arm, boop, and yeah, it's amazing. And yeah, it's a thing. Are you reaching for your Magic Arm?
I was gonna go get mine, but it's tangled up in some cables. I have a webcam held up with one of those too. They're $10.
So what I postulated on the tweezers, the twitters, the twatters, on the twit, was that in the delta of the App Store income, so the 30%, there is plenty of room for Epic to basically ship a full Android tablet capable of playing Fortnite to everyone who is willing to pay, I don't know, $50 for V-Bucks.
Yeah.
So they should just, honestly, anyone who buys $50 worth of Fortnite bucks, they should just ship them a tablet that can play Fortnite, so they don't have to pay that 30% cut to Apple or whoever, right?
Yeah, you're actually, they don't even have to do it. Yeah, they just have to figure out a minimum threshold, right? Your account, I see you've spent $100. Here's your free thing. Here's your free thing, and everybody who's their whales will continue to buy.
That's the thing. Yeah, they made, what was it? They're making $3 billion a quarter from Fortnite.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot. I mean, so they could have made $4.5 billion. That's what you learn from that number. Sure. If it wasn't for the App Store shares, although that's not completely accurate, because I'm sure the mobile accounts for X%, and blah, 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 blah. But it's like, it's
real money.
Very easy math for Quanta or Foxconn or some other Shenzhen tablet emporium. You could walk through Seg, say, I need this, and this, boom, in weeks you're shipping.
And maybe this isn't going to be the case for Fortnite, because I assume Fortnite has been on a gentle declining trajectory, but this is definitely a notion for the next Fortnite.
Yeah, I mean, Fortnite is still minting money.
Oh, for sure, and it's all profit.
It really is. So anyway, that's just what goes through my mind whenever I see anything Fortnite or PUBG or whatever related. I'm like, I don't get why y'all just didn't start shipping out Android sticks. They cost you what, $30 to manufacture. That's for true. Everyone in the world to plug in the back of their phone, back of their TV.
So you just put one other one up, but we could just quick mention AMC reopening theaters, 15-cent tickets.
Let me see if I can find this one.
It's in the channel, and I just put it up on the zone.
Oh, you did?
I did.
In the zone, the taco zone.
Get in the zone. Smash that subscribe button. Remember
Fellas
that today's secret hug phrase is the Cain train.
Cain train.
Wasn't that his
So, okay.
slogan?
Yeah, that's what they call it. No, he was the 999 or 555 or 777, whatever his number plan was during the election. And then what's his name? Mike Tyson did the parody, and it was breathtakingly funny. But yeah, he's dead. So AMC is reopening its theaters next week with 15-cent tickets, and I'm like, does that also cover a copay, or does this come with insurance? You know, are they testing on the way in? Is this just like a cool testing thing? You know, but this is not a good plan.
Can I get extra virus on my popcorn?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they just cough on it for you. Here you go, sir.
Yeah, right. I mean, are they blocking off like every other seat and filling it with a leper? You know, it's like, just stop. I mean, I have a lot of sympathy. I actually honestly feel bad for AMC, for Delta, United, Southwest. I mean, these companies, a lot of them are not going to come out of this intact, right? At the same time,
the flip side is that these are greedy companies who've been squeezing from both ends for decades. You know, like you hear the thing pretty frequently, right? Like these airlines went under, they get screwed, they need $1 billion bailout from the government. I'm like, well, the first thing they teach, you know, a high school kid in basic finance is that you're supposed to have like 3 months of cash on hand. Why does a corporation not have to do the same thing? And then if that doesn't happen, we have to like give them $1 billion, or we don't have air travel anymore.
You know, here's the thing. Like I said, I actually have a lot of sympathy for these companies. It's not easy. And frankly, airlines has never been a great business. But like when I see what like Stanford has been doing, spinning up this year's plan, I am appalled at the cruelty on evidence. So they were originally going to do a 1 quarter on, 1 quarter off, alternating for freshmen. They would have freshmen, juniors, then sophomore, seniors on campus in the dorms, right? And I'm like, first of all, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And they were going to charge full tuition, room and board for all these people. And they had raised tuition this year. And people are like, and then they said, and if you can't make it to campus, your financial aid, which also requires a student job, is canceled. And I'm like, you people have a double-digit $1 billion endowment.
What is your endowment for, if not this?
What is your school for? You know, it's like I see other schools and they're like, okay, we need the kids who have to be in the dorms are the ones who literally cannot go home because they'll never be able to return to America.
Yeah.
Right. Or they're going to be stopped at the border. So we have to preserve their dorm rooms. Right. Rest of the kids, you're streaming. So how can we best educate you? Like I know of a school that a child of mine goes to. I'm actually really proud of what they've done. They gave a small rebate for the kids who couldn't, you know, to the entire student body of like $1,500 of the tuition. They're like, we do more, but we can't. You know, we're trying to stay in business, you know, and they're like, you know, we're going to go full streaming. We're keeping the campus open for the kids who can't go home, you know, and for the hardship cases, you know, the financial aid continues. You know, if you can get an apartment and stream in, you can still use campus services. We're going to spread everything out. But yeah, it's all streaming. And so it's like, wow, you know, it's like they really thought this is going to suck, you know, and they're letting all kinds of kids defer, even though that's a nightmare next year. Right.
Sure.
But it's like, you know, and they're taking a financial hit for sure. And their endowment is not multi-digit billions. It's not even a single-digit billion. Right. So, but it's like, you know, and then you see someone like Stanford pull this and Yale and Princeton. Harvard, from what I heard, has actually been pretty good about this. But it's like, I am just appalled. I'm like, literally, you know, the people in charge of these universities and businesses like AMC shouldn't be saying, how can I make maximum financial income out of this thing? They should be saying, A, how can I preserve ourselves? B, how can I protect our customers or our students or our citizens, right? So that when this thing's over, they're alive to come back. You know,
I mean, we don't
it's
think
like,
we don't think long term anymore. We think
ah,
quarters. We think
always.
quarters. That's that's the
Well,
mindset.
and what this tells me is that Stanford and AMC and places like it, they're not thinking in terms of humanity. They're thinking in terms of "f you, pay me," and it's just like, I have to tell you, I'm not going to pay, and I'm not going to let anyone I know go back into one of these COVID kill boxes.
This is the inevitable consequence of the notion that a corporation exists purely to maximize shareholder value. Their fiduciary responsibility to maximizing shareholder value is their god. And if you take that to be the truth, and you take it to its logical extreme, it means that you can have slave labor in China build your phones. It means you can charge 70% tax on your DLC. It means you can. It's what it is.
Well, I mean, I have to tell you, Rob, you're not going far enough, man. So AMC, who's the majority owner of it, right? So when you say they're maximizing shareholder value, there's like one shareholder, and it's a big Chinese conglomerate, Diane or Dylan, and it's like, they're literally saying, you know what, we don't care about your life. I mean, this is so you're right, but you're not taking it far enough, because when people say, oh, they're just trying to maximize shareholder value, it's like, you should think about exactly who that is, because, in the case of Delta, which I think has actually handled the crisis admirably so far, and with an eye towards not killing off their customers, honestly. Who owns Delta? It's employee owned, right? It's not concentrated in a C-suite that is staffed with Stanford Business School graduates, right? It's spread around. And so they're like, how about we try to have a company that is responsible and isn't trying to kill off its passengers? Anyway,
that's not a long-term sustainable business model. But again, that's always been my problem. I've always cared about 5 years from now, a little more than 3 weeks from now.
No.
All right, folks. We've crossed the 40-minute mark. We should say goodbye.
Whoa!
I know.
Yeah.
We're making up for Wednesday and Tuesday night.
That's right. All right. Let's say goodbye to Chris DeBona.
See you, everybody.
Let's say goodbye to Rob Roseboom.
Have a good day, everybody.
All right. I'm Rob Commander Taco Malda. This has been episode 497 of Geeks in Space. I hope that you are safe, have washed your hands, and enjoy 15-cent movie tickets. It's going to be safe.